Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm your host, Sir Stephen Topham at the third, and many more, obviously. We're going to be talking something about something seriously before we get into the story of Dowager Hatt, the true story, which is what the topic is going to be about. But I want you to be aware, right? All the videos, everything is all playing out correctly, right? So the next thing is, I want you to understand if the Norfolk Railway continues as they wanted to do it, they will bash up, and then they won't think they're gonna get everything done in the correct way. But I want to focus on my mother, Dr. Hat. Now, a lot of you know her quite well in real life, obviously, face-to-face contact, and knowing everything that's unfolding. But in her timeline, it's a lot more difficult. In many ways, she was born on the 14th of January 1959, which is true. That's fact. That's no lie. So then everything with her life from that day on, the day she was born in Crosby, and she lived there all her life, basically, layman terms, shorten the story down a little bit. Then she grew up in and with her four siblings, obviously, her sisters. So she was one out of the five, right? She was the last daughter in the line of the Cooper family, if you would like to call it correctly. So the Coopers are involved in all of this. So, in logical terms, Dr. Hatt married Charles Topham Hatt II, who's my father, of course, in later years, and then everything started to come together slowly again. And I was born on the 10th of October 1983. And then my mother continued to look after me for some of the year, and then most of the years, obviously, as you know. And then my mother had her difficulties as well because she's epileptic as well, which has made it a little bit hard on her brain and how to absorb information and a lot of details, etc., etc. At the times, she was on medication. She grew up like a normal woman should do, which is true. And a lot of people are like expecting this, right? Here we go. It's real life. You can't defeat that, right? That's no lie, right? And even today, it's real life what you're dealing with, right? People can't see it, not even the NHS, right? Forget about the NHS because we know they got a lawsuit coming their way, right? My mother, right now, being 65 to 66 years of age, she wants to sue the NHS, right? That's realistic, right? For a problem that the NHS caused a long time ago in my time period, right? And a lot of people expect the unexpected, right? My mother has got a very good high tolerance, just like me. Very strict and stern, right? So she won't bullshit with you, right? I tell you now, she grew up like any other child and adult would be. She's been on holiday, she's been everywhere. So connections were made regardless when she was younger, connections were made and vice versa, right? And everything fall into place, everything fall into place. Then she married Charles Topham Hatt II and then had me, right? So in the day, right, a lot of people say, what, now my mother wants to sue the NHS, right? There's a big thing about the NHS which they fucked up on in their heads, but they were programmed and diagrammed right into it. Right? My mother wants to sue the NHS. Right? So a lot of this is all on the money. I told you in the end. The facts are all coming out. Right? My mother brought me up like a natural mother would do, loves her child to the T. Right? A lot of people assumed there are a lot of complications. This is why it's so all delicate, right? My mother brought me up the way I am now, right? So I and basically do not touch sign unless you can afford me to a point. But my mother can, so is my lady Hatt, who I won't mention. Right? So in the day, you're gonna end up saying, look, she did this for her son and everything else. Yeah, I had my problems on top, but she had to, which she witnessed and experienced, my add. This is why the NHS think we've got boom boom. I said, no, we don't. It's all black and white, right? So my mother saw me go to school, go to college, all of it, right? She also witnessed my operation. She went all through that. And then she went through, had her screams. Her screams were like fucking nightmare. But it wasn't. It was a calling card for me. And in the day, she was asking for support and help and acknowledgement. Right? Right? So in the day, right? NHS has got false documents, which is number one. My mother is planning to sue them for obvious reasons. This is why it goes back to the NHS, right? And then it goes boom, 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 and it calculates, right? You want the truth? My mother is not the person you really want to fuck off, right? Excuse my language. It's a fact, right? So in the end of the day, my mother will get what her, what we need, basically. She won't go for wants. She goes for needs. It's the other way round. So when I'm doing my job, doink doink, right, and growing up myself, and she witnesses me doing everything I can achieve in my life, right, she has the record. She has the fucking proof. Excuse my language. It's the flaming damn proof. My mother witnesses everything, right? Over the years, as she grew up, now she's now in her elderly stage near enough to a point. But when people have known her for so many years in Crosby, Knapford, and Wellsworth, and all of that area, my grandfather on my mother's side of the family has to do a lot of work as well. Right, put connections in place for me. Right, so the day I was born, safeguards had to be put in place. Everything had to be put in safeguard place. Friends, connections, all of it. I had to retrace back my family to get to where I am now. Right? I've just got to fill in one more gap to make sure it sticks as glue for the rest of the other generations of my family, or I would say my son and my granddaughter to come into play, which will be my mother's, my son will be my mother's first grandchild. Right? That's the fact. Right? Number two, she won't be there when my grandchild will be around because she'll be dead. Right? So realistically, grow up. You know, the NHS needs to grow up. Falsified bloody NHS details. Right? Right? The government won't sort this out properly because they can't rectify the problem. Right? They can't do nothing and my mother wants to sue the NHS. Right? Just because she has fucking rights as much as I have. I said I have respect for the name I'm under now, Sir Stephen Topham the Third, not the other name, because all you're doing is putting the blame on something that was created, right? So realistically, the NHS will go boom, 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 smack. Why? Think about it. You know, in the day, people know the truth. They know the logics and they know the facts in all of this. So while my mother saw all my life being brought up, except my railway trade, which I'm part of, all my friends and connections were witnessing everything. Right? So while all the bullshit is up there at the Norfolk Railway, as example, while my mother can't do nothing right now, nor can I, right? We letting them fuck up. Right? So while my mother's sitting down and watching it on Facebook and all that shit, excuse my language, and YouTube and all, may I add, even the M&GN Society, they all have to fucking grow up. Right? They have to realise the hats are back. Of course, there's only two of us, but there's actually going to be three of us. Why? Because of my wife, who I will not name. Right? The fact is, you've got to put it in black and white. Right? There's a lot of things that are unfolding in truth that you cannot mess around with. Right? My mother wants to sue the NHS in the end. Why? Because there were certain things that happened to me when I was a baby that she wants to make sure that I get compensation for. Right? The reason why I got that letter in my possession is so it doesn't go forward the way the NHS wants it, right? The NHS can F off for once. And I'm speaking on my mother's behalf on this one because Dr. Hatt can't always fight back hard. I can because I'm putting it all back, recorrecting stuff. Right? In every day, falsified documents everywhere for my family. My family is coming back, like it or lump it. Right? We all know the truth that we need dignity and respect and everything else. If you can't accept the actual return to recorrect the problems, you've got to work out why there's a 30-year gap in the tree line, family tree. Why? Because our ancestors, my grandfathers, and all their friends and connections all knew about this, and they put safeguards in place for all of us. Ding, 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 ding. So while all you got is like, let me give you an example where my mother fits and all this, right? We're all covered up, right? This is the names we coming out with now, like Stephen Topham the third, Dowager Hatt, Charles Topham the second, Sir Topham the first, and all the others. Bang, bang, bang. All realistic, right? All the documents that the NHS has falsified. Why? Because they want to hide the truth from the public, the community. I said, grow up. Your money's not going to come out of thin air, you know. It goes in your pockets and then it comes back in my pocket. Why? Reverse side. It's called a full circle. Right? So when Dr. Hatt wants to sue the NHS, there's a good enough reason for it. Alright? So I told my mother, out of safe respect for the NHS, I said to her, leave it alone. Let it play out. Let them fuck up as well. NHS will fuck up, and so would everything else. Why? Because there's a lot of mistakes being made that I cannot correct all of them all in one bucket. Right? So the NHS is fucked up. The Norfolk Railway's fucked up. What's next? You know, people are going to start investigating. Why? Because they got pride. My mother can't do much more. She's getting too old. She may look younger in her when you look at her, but she's definitely getting older. She's not going to be around for much longer, you know. People won't respect my mother. I said, look, my mother's done everything that I've done near enough. Every experience, everything. Then she witnesses my experiences. So back off. A lot of you. Learn something from this. This is not a game. My mother has seen everything that I've done is in the correct fashion. Right? The the Norfolk Railway witnessed everything else. So if my mother can't see it, my friends and connections would. My work colleagues at the time as well will witness everything. And they will see it unfold naturally. And they keep it to themselves. Right? So there's a lot of facts floating about. And it's unfolding in front of your fucking damn eyes. I said, I want respect. My mother wants respect. Fucking give it to us. Because we're not running away from it. We're taking responsibility what you lot can't handle. It's the truth. It's the truth of what's unfolded in front of your eyes. So don't give me the lecture saying blah 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 boom. Why in the day there are a lot of people that go out and respect themselves. Why? Because we are linked. We are blood related somewhere down the line. A lot of us can't make decisions for ourselves because we've got 3 safeguards put in place and more. Why? TV and movies My mother's in them as well, don't get me wrong. My mother's in everything as well. So don't bloody push us to the boat on the side and say we got boom boom. Alright, that's one example. You know, when you look upside down and look north as well, they're basically the same thing. There's just the alter ego. You know, in the day, grow up. The paperwork needs changing. Forget the fucking law. Why, for once, why the old ways had to come back a little bit to get everything else going forward again. My mother's sitting down waiting for, she can't intervene in my private life, but her life is, is safeguarded. Why? Because of me. You see, and my support angel Duck. So work it out. End of the day, you're gonna wake up and smell that damn coffee. I know it's hard to take in. I'm in linked to everything, so is my mother. It has to go somewhere, don't it? Something has to kick-start the engine, as they say, in most mechanics. But a lot of you have to realise, okay, boom, 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 go. Get right, my mother wants to sue the NHS for personal and good reason as well. Right? I told her to drop the act for that. I'll wait when it is time. Because everything that's been unfolding in front of your eyes, you're witnessing everything. Right now, you can't get it absorbed in your head. I said it's all true. My mother was born, raised, had her experience, then she saw my experiences come to light, and it all unfolded naturally. By the time I revealed myself to who I really am, everybody thought I went the other way, and I said, fuck off, I'm not. My mother knows that now. She's already in the books. Easy enough. Right? You know, by certain actions that I did long time ago that were unfolding in truth. And everybody started to realise it. Starting to see it happen. See it unfold. Naturally. So when they read it and they saw it, they said, why we leave them alone? Because why? Because it's real life. No BS. Right? If you think this is all BS, look the way they do it. Look around you. My mother is getting so old, and she's only 65 to 66 years of age. Right? And in the day, she's done very well for her life in every angle. So pack it up. You know, in the day, I don't know what's wrong with you people out there. I know a lot of people know a lot of things that really inspires you to actually open your eyes a lot more than what it is. My mother is not what she is no more. She's a good singer, she's hardworking to a point. But there's a boundary for everything. Right? The thing is, a lot of people, I know this is going to be off the topic a little bit because it's supposed to focus on my mother. A lot of people are worried about the problem, right? I get that. That's not my fault. My friend from America has already stated that problem wasn't my fault, right? Black and white. So when it all unfolds in natural course, everybody will ask why. People know things, but they can't say it out loud. Why? Because we're all connected somewhere down the line. Why? We cross paths. We have to keep connecting. Friends, family, connections, all of it. Why? Because we have to keep the story going. If you stop it, you're fucked. You'd be dead, buried. And then my mother and I will have to do twice as much as work. And then it will all be big bang, bang, bang. Right? Then you know all those wars that you've been having in other countries? That's bullshit. Right? They talk about it on the news, but they don't fucking prove it properly enough. You have to see it with your own eyes. A lot of the time, what they put in newspapers, right? My private connections in that for slash Chroma, right? Know everything, right? But there are certain people I know who have been violated, been what you call a conflict of interest, because certain people, like the Norfolk County Council, is another fucking problem. Right? So the Norfolk County Council have to stop doing what they're doing because they all fucked up in their heads. They can't think straight. My mother knows about this, so do I, and we all agree that it's gonna, like it or lump it, it's all unfolding in the correct way. But all you've done is intervene. Personal conflict of interest. Personal conflict of interest. Why? Because you know I'm white. You can't just ask for people's secrets, family secrets, secrets that are not allowed to be given on the internet for personal fucking reasons. Right? My mother won't tell you, nor would I, nor would my grandfathers, but nor would anybody else. Right? When you know about our family, right, you got it in books, you got it in TV shows and movies, and look at it. Right? Because the truth is there in black and white. Right? I don't want you to feel this is negative. Right? This is positive information. Right? I know I'm strict and stern, but I mean what I say. Right? There's a lot of things that add up to a very high degree. It's true, it's facts, it's logic, and it's everything unfolded. Right? My mother had to help me quite a lot more than what you expected, right? For a lot of you that probably don't know the big detail unless you are connections with the family and friends and all of that in around here, it makes more sense, right? When people look into this and they say what shit, crap, boom, 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 they're getting real facts. Right, I had 4 back operations. My mother has to see me through all of that. Of course, there's a lot of things that unfolded in the correct way. My mother had to see me achieve a lot of stuff. Right? This is not bullshit. This is real life. Of Thomas and Friends. This is not like just the book you read. The book, that's just all anagram business. End of the day, people seeing everything unfold naturally. The only thing is, the way the Norfolk Railway are going, they're going down under because they've got no money. And they all want this. I said, you want to respect first. That's the deadline. Because if they don't get respect, nor would they. So when you think about they want this and this and this every day, I said they won't get it now. Because they screwed up. Right? A lot of people, which I will go into detail as a part of the next chapter of this, I want you to realise that everything is unfolding in the correct way. We just got to get it all corrected, straightened out, and nail on a coffin, and get that bit of timeline. It's like saying, I'm connecting a dot for you right now, telling you exactly. My mother's been through a lot, right? She doesn't want any more stress. She doesn't want any more heartache. She doesn't want me to be in a bad position, right? I'm giving you the facts, the logic, and the respect, and the truth all at once, and you're going to take it on head on board, right? When it's all unfolding in the correct way for you, but I'm slowing it down big time. Why? Because I've got to fill in the last bit of 30 years, re-correct it, which is what I'm doing, and then re-fix the whole bloody lot. Why? Can't stay single. Why? If I stay single, then the other 2 generations can't fill in. So work it out. My mother will not have a grandson. Then I won't be able to get the granddaughter. So it'll all be messed up, basically. But like I stated, my family had secrets they don't want to divulge out in public. Right? They know us as Dowager Hatt and Stephen Topham Hatt the third, which is me, obviously, and that's all bloodline, so you can't bloody take that away from us. Yes, I speak Gaelic and all the other languages, so does my mum. She speaks part Irish. Right? It's all there, black and bloody white. but a lot of you didn't realise? Look it up. It doesn't take a genius to work it out and realise it's real life. You know, when people delve into it properly, they will realise that the names that the NHS have got on us, false information. Why? Because there are so many details that don't add up, and that will add up because a lot of my name as Stephen Topham Hatt isn't. It's not an anagram. That's my real name, surfaced up. Why? It's a shock for everyone else. Then everybody realised if he's alive, that means his father's alive, his mother's alive, and everything we've been told were all anagrams. Bang, 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 down the line. So everything that's unfolding is all in truth for you. The only thing is, my mother's been through this. I've been going through it as we speak. So I'm not, I'm not an immature individual. I'm a clever, intelligent being on a planet. Even the one person that is putting your planet Earth, or I would say the Earth itself, it's all connected back to me and my family. All connected. No buts, ifs, buts, whatever. It's all true, all logic, language and all. Bang! Right, I'll tell you now, my mother is so umpful to give you this information to say that she wants to sue the NHS. Right? For obvious reasons. Right? I get that, but I told her to leave it alone because it's not the right time for it. Right? So if you think this is all a joke, no, 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 no. She really wants to head on with the NHS. Right? Like the banks, for example, they're lying as well. False documents. Right? All they had to do is look at our names and work it out how I and how when. Why is this guy connected? Blah blah blah. It all goes backwards. Then it goes forward, forward, forward. Right? There are a lot of people in the world right now that are panicking. Right? Because they're losing what they watched or seen or heard or the universes and the reboots and everything else. Forget about the reboots. Right? Everybody that's focusing on the reboots are going to get lost in time. And they will screw up another 30 years, which I cannot repair because I'll be dead. Or my mother will be dead first, then it'll be me. So work it out. So I'm actually repairing my mother's timeline as well on top of that for obvious reasons. Why? Sometimes when I say certain things come in time, right? Which I will agree on, even my mother will agree on this, and I will state for the record, even for her, right? I'm repairing the next step, if you get my point. And it's not easy to say, look, my mother wants to do this, my mother wants to do that. She wants to just to retire and settle down. She's doing gardening as example. She's going out a bit afternoon clubbing, as they call it. I won't acknowledge where, but that proves a point, right? My timeline on underneath that being the next gen anyway, being the third gen. My mother's the second gen, my ad. And I'm gonna put it in black and white. I said it's all there in black and white. Why don't you just don't see it? You know, when people look into this, they will say, "What? Yeah, well, it's true." You know, if people think this is all a joke, I said, "No, it isn't." You really, really look. The NHS, the NSFT can't work it out because they're all they see is like they want the negatives and the positives, right? And they want things to unfold correctly or they don't. They want to ask about the secret they cannot have, right? So it runs through the background of our families and it doesn't get told in the future. Why? Because it has to unfold naturally. So if you think of my mother, right? By the time I hit my 50s and 60s, something like that, round about my time, she will be dead. If if so, because depending on her well-being, right? There are a lot of things that I know. A lot of things that come out of my mouth. I know what has been damaged. I know what you all fucking done. As example, my mother's not happy about it, nor am I. Right? We are what people need. They didn't pay for it, but they got their need. I'm not bullshitting by the bush on this. You know, a lot of our family has a lot to do with it. And I don't expect to be, nor does my mother. We don't want that disrespect. Why? In the day, I own the North Norfolk Railway and my mother's watching it. Watch out. We all watching it. Why? Because it's our property, not the North Norfolk Railway. If they've got no money, they can't run the railway system properly, they can't do nothing properly, they can't even run it properly because they go through what is hell for them. Because they can't work out why I know so much ahead of schedule. But that gets them a head start to realise it's all true, all facts, all logic. They think it's all boom boom out their head. So I said, no, it isn't. It's all facts. And if you don't believe it, what? You know, a lot of things that unfold correctly. I said, don't mess with the Hatts. Nor me, nor my mother, nobody else in the Hatt family. Because you know what you will get. Right? I'm not being rude. But it's the way we know things ahead of schedule just a bit. We're not going too far in the future, right? We only take what is needed. What is a need, not a want. People expect when I'm looking through my life and the way it's unfolding for my mother and myself, right? That regardless that we're both still alive and we're still kicking, right? There are a lot of things that people can't fully understand because facts are always in place, right? They see it, then they fucked up. Why? Because they've seen it happen and they're gonna fuck up in the next generation. They're gonna fuck up in the other generation. And why? Because there's one individual, which I will mention in the next podcast, that will fuck the North Norfolk Railway up so bloody badly that my mother and I will not be. My, while my mother will be not there all the time, I would. So there'll be one left. And then I'll be the one who's saying, nope, you're not. This individual that I'm going to be talking about in the next podcast is one person that wants to destroy the North Norfolk Railway. The full whack. Not me personally, because I'll be innocent. Why? Because I want proof. I'm giving you proof, evidence, truth, logic, and facts. It's all going to come out in the wash. And it's going to end up saying, who was this individual? Why is this individual want to attack the North Norfolk Railway? I said he will do. You see, my fleet, my steam team fleet that my mum and I associate with, knows all the fucking truth. You don't need to ask any more questions. So, if you want, if my mother is planning to put the NHS on ice if they keep fucking up. So, keep, just keep, just keep thinking and looking and seeing and hearing, because that's all you're gonna find out. And in the day, my mother and I are basically end of the day, my mother has saw her life go through with her experiences, which is why the 30-year gap is in place. Why? Because it's because of her life. Then you've got to add another 30 years because of me on top of that, plus the extra 7. Then I come in as a fat controller because I'm third gen. Then it all adds up. Then it calculates correctly. Then everything will add up correctly. It's just a slow process. Don't come in with the high horses and think you've got whites. Why, you've lost your whites long time ago. Why? Because the NHS thought they could get away with everything. I said, no, they don't. Because your minds are genetically connected up here. Up here is giving you a code. And every time you use that code, right, you know who's who. But it's all in anagram mode to safeguard us all. Why, in the day, if you keep attacking us, you'll be destroying what you want or need. Right? So I'm just begging you for your own lives. Even my mother will agree on this. I won't bullshit with the bush, nor would I ever go against the world, nor would I ever put them in danger. Why? Too really useful. Why? People know that. The Norfolk Railway don't, because they want to screw up everything. Right? I'm now going to put it in the next podcast. Right? Which will flaming wake you up. Thank you very much.